Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. It's awfully quiet. I should have played some music. Hi. We had quite a few people register for this, so we're gonna wait around just a minute and make sure that everyone gets a chance to jump on. How's everyone doing? I tried to figure out my lighting situation and it's not quite working. I just moved into my new office, so nothing is hung up yet. So I have things just like placed against my wall behind me, so it doesn't look too terrible. Hello. All right. So I believe we are recording. Yep. So it is 11 o'clock and we've got a power hour in front of us. We're going to go through so much stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And again, this is being recorded. So if, um, if anybody needs to say anything, you can go ahead and unmute or raise your hand, but I'm going to minimize this here, just so I can kind of just see. Actually, why don't we do this? Oops. There we go. I think what I'm going to do instead is kind of just scroll through here so I can see y'all. All right. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Again, this is going to be a big power hour. We're going to go through top 5 things. These are items that I usually teach in like a 4 to 6 hour CE class. So I'm going to kind of give you the shortened version, the advanced track. We all are busy. It's the holiday season. We all want to know what we need to do to jump into 2025 and be super successful with it. So I'm going to run through this really fast. If you have any questions, or anything you want to say, go ahead and type it in the chat box. And we will address as much as we can at the end. If we run over and people want to stay on and kind of have more conversation, I have the time to do that. So we are going to do the best that we can to run through all of this very, very fast paced. So I hope you guys have your notebooks and your pens ready to go. There's going to be a lot of content that you're going to want to take notes on and jump through. So here we go. Top 5 actionable things that you can do in 2025. So this is what we're going to review today. I'm going to introduce myself for those of you that don't know me. There's quite a few people on here that I haven't met or haven't worked with yet. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, my background, my history. We're going to go through 5 key things that you need to implement into 2025. And I want to clarify this for everybody. The secret sauce to real estate. Everybody's like, what's your golden ticket? What do you do? How are you so successful? I want to preface all of this with there is no one secret sauce. Everybody has a different secret sauce. Everybody has something that works differently for them. However, there are some consistent things that all business owners do to be successful. It has nothing to do with the activities that you're doing every day and more to do with kind of a mindset thing, which is why the very first thing we're going to talk about today is mindset. We're also going to talk about tools in your database. We're going to talk about time management and not your typical time management. I'm actually going to go into some detail about how and why this is important. We're going to go into some lead generation, and then we're going to go into building and maintaining your brand, which is incredibly important and something that 95% of agents don't do that they should. So let's just jump right in. All right, I'm Nicole. For those of you that don't know me, I am the team leader of the KeyGroup right here in North Canton, Ohio. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a licensed broker, I'm an investor. I have several investment properties. I'm a business owner. I own a few different businesses and team leader of the KeyGroup. Been in real estate now for almost 10 years, so almost a decade, which is kind of crazy to me. And I have sold hundreds upon hundreds of properties. I've dealt with all sorts of residential, commercial, lease, all sorts of stuff. And I have quite a bit of experience. One of my passions, though, is coaching and teaching. I love coaching. I love teaching, and kind of really getting into it with people and helping them be successful. I think one of the drivers for me to continue doing what I do every day is the ability to see other people be successful and know that maybe I had a small part to play in that. I love being a part in kind of a bigger thing. So that's really what drives me. All right, so let's jump into number one, adopt a business mindset. This is the most important thing for all of you. We are all in this industry. So let me ask you a question and go ahead and type it in the chat box. But who do you work for? When your best friend asks you who you work for, when you say, I'm a real estate agent, and they ask you, who do you work for? Type in the chat for me. Open up this chat box. Type in the chat for me here and tell me who you work for. I'm going to give you all a second. All right, all right. We got a lot of me's. We got some of my clients, my friends and my family. Good stuff, good stuff. So the correct answer is you. You work for you. And I want to clarify. Those of you that said you work for your friends, you work for your family, you work for your clients, yes, this is true. But when somebody asks you if you are in, let's say you're in the real estate mastermind Facebook group, or you're at Christmas dinner and you say, I'm a real estate agent, and they say, who do you work for? What they're looking for you to say is, I work for Keller Williams. I work for Real Brokerage. I work for Cutler. That's what they're looking for you to say. But that would mean that you're an employee. And this is such a big hurdle for agents right now in today's society. You are not an employee. You do not work for your brokerage. You don't work for your clients. You work for yourself. You are building a business for yourself. You are putting food on your table and a roof over your head. Some of you have big dreams and you want to build an empire. Some of you just want to be able to sell enough real estate to make a good living and live a good life, and nothing too crazy or, extensive. But at the end of the day, as a business owner, you work for yourself. So let's talk about what that means. The business owner mindset versus employee mindset. I see this all the time on like Facebook groups and stuff where so-and-so says, I work for ABC Brokerage. And it's so cringy for me. I have such a cringe moment when I talk about this, because it's like, you do not work for ABC Brokerage. You do not work for them. You work for yourself. And so the mindset of business owner versus employee, there's some big differences. So let's talk about those differences. Let's just say, how many people in this group had like a job in high school or in college where you clocked in? Maybe you worked at Chipotle or McDonald's or, the grocery store or whatever. And you clocked in. Yeah, you clocked in. You started your job. You probably did a little bit of training on it. You clocked in, you started your job, you did your activities, you worked your shift, and then you clocked out. In real estate, where do you clock in? Do you clock in every day somewhere? I don't think you do. So that's a huge difference between being an employee and a business owner. So when someone says, who do you work for? You say myself. That's because there's nowhere for you to clock in except for your own self. Maybe it's in your home, maybe it's in your office, but you are working for yourself. Do you treat your real estate business as a business, or do you treat it like a job? Huge difference. Big mindset thing that you need to start thinking about here. I run a business. This is not my job. This is my business. Think about that. All right, so let's talk about, how do you best operate your business? Do you have long-term goals? Do you have short-term goals? Do you have money goals, milestone goals? Do you have self-discipline, time management? It's so important to know how you individually work best. And what I mean by that is, let's talk about the office versus working at home. There are some people that need to go into an office every day. They just cannot be at home. They cannot work at home. And there are some people that absolutely hate changing out of their pajamas and going into an office and getting dressed, and they just prefer to be at home and they can open up their computer or do what they need to do, grab their phone, and they can work from home. So, identifying how you work best for you and how you operate your business best is key and super important. The last part of this that I'm going to dive into a little bit more is when I say you're running your business and you own a business and you're not an employee, who knows what the key elements of running a business is? So all right, I'm going to talk about this not because I want to get political or anything, but who all has heard in the news about the CFO from United Healthcare that was just killed? Does everybody know about that? It was in the news. He was murdered. It's very, very sad. Um, but the biggest thing that we're reading in the news is that he was the CFO of a company. So taking aside the news part of that and looking at United Healthcare, they have a CFO, but what else do they have? They have a CEO, a chief executive officer. They have a COO, which means chief operations officer. They have a CTO. CTO stands for chief technology officer. And they have a CMO. A CMO stands for chief marketing officer. So every business has one of these key players in those roles. And those are considered the executives of the business. And they have board meetings and they come together and they work and they build the business off of what each one of their strengths are. So in your business, who's your CFO? Who's your COO? Who's your CMO? Type in the chat box for me if you know who all of those people are in your business. Opening up the chat box again. Yep, y'all are right. Everyone says me. But let's think about that. Holy cow, guys. Me, I'm a CFO, a CEO, a CMO, a CTO. How in the world can you be all of those roles and still have time to get out there in the field and make money and run your business if you're doing all of these different things at once? It's crazy to think about. It really, really is. So, how do we do this? How do we go about running our business and being all of these roles at once? It's actually much simpler than you think it is. Who has a business meeting with themselves every week? Does anybody have a business meeting with themselves? I know it sounds stupid. But it's not. It's not stupid. So having a business meeting with yourself, or you can even call it like a board meeting when you put it in your calendar. I have a board meeting. And ultimately, it's an hour of time that you're setting aside for yourself to take a look at a bigger picture, 1,000-foot view of your business. And you have to put on your hats for each one of these views. So, maybe for a couple of minutes, you're putting on your CEO hat, executive hat. You're looking at everything from the tree down and all of the different aspects. And then maybe for another couple of minutes, you're looking at you're putting on your CFO hat, your financial hat, where how's your ROI? How's your budget? How's your P&L? What money do you have coming in? What money do you have going out? Are you profitable? Are you taking a look at your business from that perspective? Then you have to take that hat off and put on your COO hat, and you're looking at the operation. So how is your business operating? What are you doing? How are you scheduling things? What tools are you using? How are you implementing systems and processes? Then you have to put on your marketing hat, your CMO hat. How am I marketing my business? What effective strategies do I have in place to market? So these are all things that as business owners, we need to be for ourselves. And I highly, highly recommend every single one of you to set aside an hour a week to have a board meeting with yourself to take a look at every aspect of your business, because I can guarantee you almost no one on this call actually goes through and has their own business meeting with themselves to look at your business. So we're going to the essentials part. We're going to skip that for a second. Real quick, before I jump into anything else, does anybody have any feedback on that so far? Was that news to anybody thinking about having a board meeting with yourself? Go ahead, whoever raised their hand. Madison, you're funny. It's true. It's very, very true. We all need to start doing this. So I highly, and we're going to talk more about time management and how to kind of jump in and think about all of these things. Um, so cool. All right, guys, I'm going to jump into the next set. Who has done a SWOT analysis before? Has anybody done a SWOT analysis? I'm jumping over to chat again. Nobody has done a SWOT analysis. Okay, this is interesting. All right, so a SWOT analysis. Karin, you've done a SWOT analysis. Do you think that you are capable of giving me a quick overview in 10 seconds or less of the SWOT? You're muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, no, the labels are really pretty self-explanatory, but it is knowing where you're strong, where you're not strong, um, the things that you can do, like opportunities that you have to lean into your strengths or to delegate some of your weaknesses, and then some ways that perhaps your weaknesses in particular are putting you at risk.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's a great way of putting it. So SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I highly suggest you write that down because we're going to go in a little bit into AI today. And using the term SWOT analysis when you're using AI is really going to help you narrow down some stuff that's really cool. So, strengths. Um, what do you do in your real estate business that sets you apart from others? Whether you're running a team or whether you are running another business, this could be business, anything. It doesn't have to be real estate. I'm just talking about real estate in general. But what do you do that sets yourself apart from every other real estate agent that's out there? Weaknesses, identifying the areas of your business that need improvement. I think every single one of us on this call could probably name one thing right now that we need to do. Maybe it's systems, maybe it's a CRM, maybe it's emails, maybe it's follow-up, maybe it's conversion. Whatever those weaknesses are, identifying those is critical to doing an analysis of your business. So, what are you good at? What are you not so good at? Opportunities. This is where can you expand or innovate in your business? So maybe you find yourself having some free time throughout the week and you don't know what to do with that free time. That would be an opportunity to fill that time with something that can increase your business. Other opportunities may be it's the time of year. Maybe it's a brokerage move. Maybe that's an opportunity for you. Maybe it's leads. Maybe you have an opportunity to sign up with a program. I know there are like the teacher program. You can sign up with the teacher program to get leads through a specific lender that focuses on teachers. Maybe that's an opportunity. Maybe it's the veterans. Maybe that's an opportunity. Maybe co-marketing, maybe merging with another real estate agent and creating a team. Those could all be opportunities in your business. And threats. So I want to identify this right off the bat. Threats in real estate are not other agents. I'm just going to put that out there right now and squash that. Your threat is not the agent right down the street from you. It's not the other top producing agent in your area. That is not a threat. There is enough business for everybody in this industry. And if you put your mind to it and you work hard, there will be business for you. Guaranteed. There's plenty of business. When we're talking about threats, we're actually talking about other things that could be, for example, the NAR change. That was a change that was going to take it honestly wasn't a big deal to me, but most people are thinking that it's a big deal and it's a change for them. And it was a change. There's paperwork changes, there's practice changes, how we show homes changes, how commission is paid changes. That could be considered a threat in your industry. So identifying that threat and being able to move past it and move forward that threat. Another threat could be the economy. If we're in a seller's market, if we're in a buyer's market, if we're in a neutral market, those are different threats in different ways and not necessarily a bad threat, but it is a threat. If we're in a seller's market, we need to identify that threat and how to work through that. Same thing for a buyer's market. So I highly advise you to write down SWOT for SWOT and what each one of them means, because I'm going to show you how to do a SWOT analysis using AI in a little bit here. So we're gonna kind of get into that. Any questions or comments on the SWOT analysis? Last thing I'll say about SWOT, if you have not done a complete analysis of your business, going into 2025, it's December right now, I highly suggest sitting down and doing a SWOT analysis during your board meeting with yourself of your business, because it's really going to help you identify some of the things that you can do, that you need to expand on, some of the things that you're strong at, your superpowers, and really be able to identify how to build on yourself moving into 2025. All right. How to create a business plan that fits me. I can't believe we're already 20 minutes into this call. I'm super behind. You create a business plan that fits you by doing your SWOT analysis and identifying the time you have available, when you're available, who, like, do you need a babysitter? Does your husband provide? What, where, when, why? So you have to identify all of those things when you're creating a business plan. And to be clear, what we're talking about today is not a business plan. There are 800,000 business planning clinics going on right now, all over the place. And this is not what this is. If you want to do a business plan, I can show you how to do that real quick. So we're going to take 30 seconds. Literally, this is how you create a business plan. Identify how much money you want to make. Okay. Add 25% to that for expenses and taxes. So if you want to make 100,000, you need to make 125,000. You could probably up it to 30% if you wanted to. Then, after you do that, you're going to take your average commission. So if your average sale price is 200,000 and your average commission is 2%, that's $4,000 average commission. So if you need to make $125,000, you're going to take that $4,000 average commission, you're going to divide it. And that's going to spill out to you how many transactions you need to close this year to make what you want to make. Super simple. Everybody got that? Madison, my buyer's dad is my biggest threat. You're funny. Anybody need me to repeat that? Because that is like super basic stuff right there. If you need to make this amount of money, you need to add your costs and expenses into it, divide it by your average commission, and that's how many houses you need to sell or transactions you need to sell. Super simple. Cool. Last thing I'll say on business mindset, do not reinvent the wheel. It is really easy for real estate agents to have shiny object syndrome, or squirrel syndrome, as I call it. Meaning when you see something, you're like, ooh, that's a good idea. I want to do it. Yeah, someone else has done it before. But when you do that 30 times, you're implementing 30 new practices and you have a whole list of things that you want to do. You're never actually doing the same few activities consistently every day to grow your business. All you're doing is seeing a shiny object, implementing it once or twice, and then moving on to the next shiny object syndrome. There's not one agent I've spoken with that hasn't done this in some capacity in their career. And many of us are stuck on this hamster wheel cycle of that. And that's why it's really hard to predict how our business will grow. And it feels like a fluke. There's an agent on my team who did really, really well this year. Really, really, really well. And comparatively to the last few years, for her. And she keeps telling me that she thinks it's a fluke, that it's not going to happen again, that it's not repeatable. And it's funny to me when I think about that, because haven't we all felt that way? Haven't we all looked back at some point, unless you're a brand new agent, but haven't you looked back and went, I sold 25 houses this year. There's no way I can do that again. I have no idea where my business is coming from. I cannot repeat it. And so we just keep grabbing shiny new objects to jump in and do, because we think this is the next thing that we need to do for our business. And that's so not the right way to do it. Consistency and staying with the same few things for a long period of time to give you trackable progress is how you build a business plan. We're going to talk about that more. Don't reinvent the wheel. Don't think that you're the first person to do something and try to do it differently. Just implement a few things. They probably have been done before. Ask the experts, input them into your business, and you'll start to see some real product. All right. Build and manage your database using the right tools. I could go through this part for 8 hours, to be honest with you. This is such a big part. But if we were going to talk about simplifying this to the best of everyone's ability, there are two things that you need to have to build a real estate business. You need to have a database and you need to have tools to manage it. It's really that simple. Database, tools, database. Everyone write that down. So let's talk about tools and databases. If I were a brand new agent, and this is how I coach my brand new agents on my team, the very first thing I would do is have you create a spreadsheet to your private Gmail, not your team Gmail, not your brokerage email. Create a spreadsheet in Google with your private email and start writing down everybody you know. First name, last name, address, phone number, email address. Maybe you have their LinkedIn profile or Facebook profile, but ultimately all you need is phone number, name, address, phone number, name, address, phone number, name, address. That's the very first thing that every agent should do. And all you seasoned agents out there that have been doing it for 5, 10, 15 years, how updated is your database? Do you, every time you close a deal, do you add that person to your database? Do you update that? Has it been updated? Have you gone through your dot loop over the past 2 years and found every past client and updated your database with it so that you can start marketing and working your past clients? Most people say no to that, surprisingly. So start there and continue there if you haven't been. A CRM, critical, guys, critical. I mean, for those of us that just use our CRM is our phone and we just pick out our contacts throughout our phone and we connect with some people from there, or maybe we have a list written down on a sheet of paper that is our CRM. That's not how you build a business. It's just not. That's a really not delicate or not delicate. That's not the word I'm looking for. Intricate. That's not the right way to build a business. That's a really sloppy way of doing it. In order to really build a business, whether you operate from a sphere perspective only, or maybe you're a cold caller only, or maybe you do a mix of both, you have to have a CRM. A CRM could be something as basic as a spreadsheet. It could be Asana. It could be Trello. It could be Lofty. We use Lofty with my team, and it's pretty amazing. But the only way to keep up with your people and what you're doing is to use a tool, and a tool would be a CRM. Now, there are some other tools and CRMs you can use for database building and management. For example, there is Reminder Media. If you haven't heard of or used Reminder Media, it's a magazine that sends out once every 2 months. You can co-brand it with your lender, and it sends out this magazine to all your past clients. It's pretty cool. They also have a first of the month like email newsletter that goes out. That's pretty cool too. Send out cards. If you haven't used send out cards, it allows you to send personalized cards to people in your database. That's another CRM. Yep. Thank you, Kate. There are quite a few CRMs that are out there, and they all work in different ways. They operate in different ways. For real estate, the best CRM is the one that you're going to use. And I think an all-encompassing CRM is critical to what you need to do to grow a business. So Follow Up Boss is fantastic. Lofty has been fantastic. There are other ones out there too, but definitely getting involved with a CRM. And most of them from an individual standpoint can be very, very easy and not too expensive to do. So if we were talking about tools and databases, getting your CRM and getting your database ready to go, we're going to talk later more about this, but incorporating AI into your tools is going to be critical for helping you automate things. So you don't have to send out an email once a week newsletter and you have to manually build out this newsletter and send it out. In fact, most of us probably wouldn't even send a newsletter if we had to build it every week and send it out, right? But we all want to send a weekly or monthly newsletter to our people, but we don't because it takes too much time and we don't know where to start. AI is going to help you with that. This is the most important part right here. Treat your database as a living asset that grows with consistent effort and tracking. So if we're thinking about a living asset, your database, Key to your business, absolutely key to your business. And if you don't have any past clients or closings, your database is going to be your sphere, your friends, your family. That's where you're going to start. That's your sphere. If you treat it like it's alive and it needs nurtured, it needs fed, it needs watered, and you think about it from that mindset, it's going to continuously grow. For you agents that have been doing this a long time and you have not nurtured or watered your database in the last couple of years, this is your reminder to go ahead and do it. Think about your database as a plant, a tomato plant. Who likes tomato plants? We all like tomato plants. They need watered every day. They need enough sun. They need enough shade. They need enough nutrients in the soil. They need pruned. That's your database. You need to treat your database like a tomato plant. And if you leave it alone for too long, it's going to die. So you have to treat it like it's alive and it's growing at all times. Any feedback on that? For us, I use Lofty. My team uses Lofty. That's the CRM. All right. We're going to jump into number 3 here because we are halfway through our power hour. So just to recap, we talked about business mindset, treating your business like it's a business and not a job. The second thing we talked about is database and tools. Having the right tools, AI, CRM, having your database ready to go, key essential to running your business. So number 3, we're going to talk about time management. Again, I teach this in like a 2-hour CE class. So this is fast paced, but I'm really condensing down what we're talking about today. For any and all of you agents that are out there right now, I'm going to give you some handy tools that you can use to manage yourself because honestly, we are our own worst employees. Like we don't clock in every day. There's no managing of us. A lot of us just kind of go with the flow and throw stuff at a wall and see if it sticks. And we don't really know, our day is not planned out. We need to plan out our days. So we're going to talk about time management from that perspective. All right. On the left here, this is what your calendar most likely looks like for you guys. It looks like a showing, 2 showings in a row on Monday from 9 to 11. And then on Wednesday, you have a listing appointment. And maybe you have gymnastics with your kids on Tuesdays. Look at all that white. Look at all that gap. So much gap. So you have your appointments in your calendar, but what else do you have in your calendar? You're not only on the clock when you're showing homes or going to listing appointments, right? You're on the clock because this is your career. This is your business. Over here on the right, this is what your calendars should look like. Now, I don't care if you have a paper calendar or if you have a Google calendar or you follow the calendar on your phone. Maybe you have a family calendar. My husband and I have shared calendars. But you want every single blank space filled with something. And as you can see up here, like all this pink on this one, this is sleeping time or personal time. It's even time blocked as personal time in the calendar. Maybe you time block out your lunch. This is going to be critical for you guys to do what you need to do. Now, some people, I've learned this throughout my career. Some people are not good with following like 12:30 to 1, 1 to 1:30, 1:30 to 2 with what they're doing in their business. They're more like long-term gappers. And we'll talk about that too. But definitely filling your time throughout the day, even if you wake up at 7 and you're getting ready time and getting your kids to schools from 7 to 9. And then from 9 to noon, you're doing catching up on emails and working your current deals and things like that. And then from noon to 1, you're taking lunch. And then from 1 to 4, you're prospecting. Even that, you're blocking off larger amounts of time, but you're still scheduling out your day according to what you need to get done. My best advice for you guys is to take a look at your calendars on Sunday nights. For me, it's after my kids go to bed. It's Sunday night. I'm getting ready for my week because the last thing I want to do is come in on Monday morning and start my week off by planning my week and looking kind of at the shit show that my week has become. I want to have my week ready to go on Sunday nights, and I can be flexible with it, but I want to have a good idea of what I'm going to be doing for the week. So let's talk about some considerations with time management. What are your office hours? I can tell you mine easily. My kids get dropped off at 9:30 I am in my office between 9:30 and 10 every day. Yeah, that's kind of late, isn't it? But I got little ones at home and we take our times in the morning. I spend my time with my kids getting them off to school the right way in the mornings. And I'm out of my office by 4:45 every day. So my working hours throughout the week that I'm in my office working on my business is about 10 to 4:45. Now, I answer phone calls, I talk to agents, at one point in time I was doing open houses every weekend, but my office hours were 10 to 4:45. I challenge you right now in your notebooks to write down what your office hours are. Who has their hand raised? Karin, go ahead. You're muted.
Sorry, I couldn't get the button.
It's okay.
I was just going to share that when we first did this a couple years ago, I was overwhelmed because my calendar was on the white side. Um, and what I did, and I'm happy to share this with anybody. If it is overwhelming for you where you're at to look at all those colors and think, I don't know what I need to put in here. I started with a blank calendar that I printed out and I just tracked what I did and I wrote down my activities throughout the day. And sometimes I still do this so that I can be looking after the fact at how much time things actually take and where I'm actually spending my time, and then figure out how to plan from there. So thank you,
100%.
Nicole, for getting me started on that.
Yes, absolutely. And what I will say, and this is something else that I've learned throughout my years of coaching, because I used to be a big stickler on managing your calendar and time blocking everything out. But I realized that some people just don't operate that way. They cannot, it's not part of their personality. If we're looking at a disc profile, we've got someone who's a high D, and high Ds, if we're looking at disc, they don't stick to a calendar. They are like this. There's a girl on my team who, no matter what she does, she wants to stick to a calendar. She just can't. It's not part of what she's able to do. And so they have these, if you can't see it, but this is like a daily to-do list, weekly planner, daily planner. They have them at like Staples and stuff like that. But I call them a scorecard. So, in alternative to your calendar and time blocking, you should still time block, but you can add a scorecard to it to kind of identify a list of things that you need to get done versus time blocking them out, or a combination of both. And so what I mean by that is maybe your day is 10 to 4, like mine. And from 10 to noon, you're going to time block that out for making cold calls. Okay. And then from noon to 1 is your lunch. And then from 1 to 4 is.
Hi, Katie Patootie.
Well, if you're not muted, mute.
Yeah.
Sorry, totally got sidetracked on that one. From 1 to 4, you have something else that you're doing. So you've time blocked 2 big sections of your day plus lunch. Okay. Now what you're going to do is you're going to make a scorecard for yourself. So a scorecard is kind of like a checklist of what you want to get done. So if you want to send 10 emails, if you want to send 10 text messages, if you want to create an open house, if you want to make one post on Facebook, if you want to make one video, you would time block out kind of the times throughout the day that you're going to set aside to do your work. Maybe you just label it in your calendar work, like work time. This is your work time from 10 to 4, and you block out your calendar 10 to 4 is work time. And then you create a scorecard for yourself of those daily activities that you want to get done. I've even laminated my scorecard before, written things down at the beginning of the day. And then at the end of the day, as I check them off, which is super gratifying for those of you that like checking things off, it's great. And then you erase it and start over at the next day. So however you're going to do it, time management is the key. So having a checklist of the things that you want to do, and then blocking out your calendar so that you are clocking in to your business every day and giving your business the time that it deserves. Setting different goals for yourself. There should be daily, weekly, quarterly, and yearly goals. Some people, it's really hard to look a year out. Maybe you're just a day-to-day person and I'm just looking at what I need to get done today. That's fine. You can do that, but you still want to make money, right? You still want to close deals, right? You still have to have some sort of goal. I want to sell 25 houses this year in cap. Okay, so how do we break that down and what activities do you need to do every day? And that ties into your expected outcomes. So let's talk about activities. Time management and activities go hand in hand. So when we talk about blocking out your calendar and we talk about doing our scorecard for yourself, we are talking about what activities you can do every single day to grow your business. Guys, this is like the most important thing. Consistency activities, consistency activities. How many of you, maybe you're feeling like this right now, maybe you're a new agent, maybe you've been in the industry for a long time, but altogether, how many of you have time throughout the day where you're like, I don't know what to do? You wake up, you get ready for work, you open your computer, I don't know what to do. Most of you, the default thing is you start doing something that's comfortable for you. And running a business is not supposed to be comfortable. It's supposed to constantly be uncomfortable. If you're comfortable, then you're not growing. And if you're not growing, you're dying. So you should never be every day comfortable in everything you're doing. You always should be pushing yourself to the next level of how do I do something and get uncomfortable with it. So what activities are you doing every single day to grow your business? We're talking about time blocking. We're talking about creating a scorecard for yourself. Every single one of us should have 3 to 5 daily and weekly activities that we're doing to increase our business. And for example, some of those things could be maybe you're cold calling a list of expireds. Maybe you are working a list of cold leads. Maybe you're door knocking twice a week for 2 hours. Maybe you're holding 2 open houses a week, and that's your activity every week is to meet people by hosting open houses. Maybe you're sending out a card a day or 5 cards a day to people in your sphere. One of the things that has been key, and I invite you all to write this down, those of us that have a database of people, whether you've sold real estate or not, but our sphere, our database, past clients, family, friends, sending 10 video text messages a day to those people, because what you're doing is you're putting coins in their bank, you're investing in them, you're letting them know that you care about them. That's what you're doing. And you'd be shocked. I don't know if Lindsay Rose is on this call or not, but the girl does not buy leads ever. She's does really amazing in her industry, and she sends 10 video text messages a day to her sphere like, hey, how are ya? I was driving through your neighborhood. I was thinking about you. I remember when I sold you this house last year. How's it been? That's a great like introduction one, but then just sending a text message once a month and seeing how people are doing and really letting them know you care about them. This is a great way to cultivate and grow your sphere business. Maybe that's one of your daily activities. I'm going to give you a list of activities towards the end here that you can download of things that you can pick and choose from. Again, don't reinvent the wheel. Don't have shiny object syndrome. Pick 3 to 5 activities that you can do consistently every day for a long period of time. And that's going to be how you grow your business. It should be a good mixture. It should be something technological, should be something online, should be something physical. It should be maybe an email. It could be a social media, an email, a pop by, phone calls, whatever it is. But you want to have a good mix of a few different activities that you can invest yourself in every single day. All right. If you don't put it in your calendar, it doesn't exist. I didn't show up for a buyer or in the very first year of my business, I scheduled a showing for a sphere buyer, 300K buyer, 500K seller, forgot to show up, lost them. They bought the house with another agent that showed up and then sold that listing with another agent as well. 800K of business I lost because I didn't put it in my calendar and I forgot about it. I'm sure it happens to the best of us. If it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. And that includes working on your business. If you don't time block out your days, it won't exist. You won't do it. If you stay home and you don't time block, you'll end up doing the dishes or cleaning or running errands or whatever. You won't do it. Try not to have any blank space in your calendar. The details matter. So from 2 different perspectives, if we have a scorecard with a checklist of things that we want to get done every day, and we have a calendar with time blocked out. I'm going to be cold calling from 10 to 11. I'm going to be doing this from 11 to 12, or maybe you have larger time blocks. Knowing how you're going to do it as part of your activity is part of planning it out. So you don't want to just put in your calendar, I'm going to cold call from 10 to 12. And you don't want to put on your scorecard, I'm going to cold call from 10 to 12 and leave it at that. Because then what you're going to do when 10 o'clock rolls around is you're going to try to find a source. You're going to try to find how you're going to keep track of it. You're going to try to find where your CRM is going to be, what numbers to dial, how often you're going to dial, what scripts you're going to use. You're going to spend so much time preparing to cold call from 10 to 12 that you're probably not going to get any cold calling done. Same with your cards. I'm going to send out 10 cards. Do you have those cards bought? Are they ready to write? Do you know what you're going to do on send out cards? Like having an idea of how you're going to do each of your activities and knowing it before that activity time starts is key to making sure that it gets done. If you wait until that time starts, it won't get done. You're going to spend all the time planning it and it's never going to get done. Fair? Jumping into chats here. What app are you using for video texts? I'm using my phone. I'm literally recording on my phone and sending a video text. And if you're not comfortable being on video, by the way, when you're sending out text to people, just send a text. Just send a regular text. I highly encourage you to try to send video text because it re-engages them with you and who you are. But if you're not comfortable with it, just send a text, 10 text messages a day. All right, so here's how you build your calendar real quickly in review. Add your non-negotiable time blocks to your calendar. This, for example, could be dropping your kids off at school, picking your kids up at school, a doctor's appointment. Maybe you have a yoga class. Those are non-negotiables. Those are in your calendar. You can't miss them. You cannot miss picking up your kids. So time block that time out so you know you have it in your calendar. Then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to add your daily lead generating and follow-up activities. So these are those 3 to 5 activities that you want to do every day to grow your business consistently every day. You're going to add those to your calendar. Then you're going to add your in activities and your on activities. Who knows the difference between working in your business and on your business? Shout it out if you know it. Someone's got to know it.
In your business is like showings and appointments and things, then on your business is like preparing for Popeyes or something like that.
Yes, ma'am. Working in your business is like in it, boots on the ground. I'm going to a showing appointment. I'm showing homes. I'm going to a listing appointment. I'm going to a training. Those are all working in your business activities. Working on your business are just like what Madison said, working on activities that you need to build in your business. So that would be your activities, your cold calling. Maybe you're setting up your board meeting with yourself. Maybe you're doing an hour of YouTube training on how to convert because you're having trouble with converting leads. That's working on your business. Working in it is actually doing it out there, doing the money-making things. Add your weekly team meeting. This is your board meeting. Your CFO, CMO, CTO, COO, CEO. That's that meeting. You should be having this once a week. You should be reviewing your business every single week and setting aside an hour of time to do that every week without a doubt, unless you're on vacation, because how else are you going to grow it if you don't know what's going on with it? Writing it down, taking notes. You want to add your team meeting or your board meeting to your calendar every week. Last but not least, flex time. This is my favorite part of the calendar. So maybe you have from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. completely blocked off. You're working in your business, on your business, you're doing your calls, you have a showing. But from 3 to 5, you're going to block that time off in your calendar, but you're going to call it flex time. And by that, your flex time, that's going to be time that you can use to shift around if something comes up. So, for example, if you are set to cold call from 11 to 12 and you have a listing appointment instead, and you have a listing appointment, the only time they could get together was from 11 to 12 on that same day. So what you're going to do is you can't just not do your cold calling because that's a lead generating activity. You have to get it done. You're going to shift that hour of time over to your flex time because you have that time available and take your listing appointment from 11 to 12. So you always, always, always every day want to have an hour or two, probably 2 hours of flex time in your day. so that if an appointment gets added, something comes up, you don't have time, you have to take a call, your kid needs picked up because they're sick, you can still shift around your activities that you had to do for business development over into your flex time, and you can use that. If you end up not shifting anything around and you don't need your flex time, that's just additional time to do some additional business building activities. Maybe you need to work on something in Canva and your buyer's guide, and you can do that during your flex time. Just throwing that out there. Any questions on that, building your calendar out that way? All right. Jumping into the next one. Well, the last couple things I'll say about this. When you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. If a lender calls you and says, do you have time for coffee? If you take 2 hours of time to go meet that lender for coffee, you're saying no to something during your day. And most of the time, it's lead generating activities. Getting coffee with a lender is not, most of the time, not going to get you closings like 2 hours of lead generating will. So just keep that in mind. I'm not saying don't meet with lenders. By all means, meet with lenders, meet with title, meet with your people. But just know that every time you say yes to an appointment, you're saying no to someone else or yourself. Learn how to be fluid with your calendar. This is one of the reasons why we want a scorecard. So if you've built out your calendar, you still could have a checklist and a scorecard of the things that you need to get done every day. That way, if your calendar is fluid, you're moving your flex time around, you didn't have time to do something, you still have a checklist that needs to get done. You can still get that done by the end of the day, and you have it written right in front of you. Don't forget to write in travel time to your calendar. If you have a listing appointment from 11 to 12 and it takes you half an hour to get there, you need to actually have your listing appointment from 10:30 to 12:30 because you're going to have, you see what I'm saying? You need that travel time in your calendar. So don't forget to add that in. Okay, we're going to move on. Lead generation, which is kind of what we talked about already, but using an appropriate mix of activities that you can be consistent with. I want to talk about this triangle here. There are 3 ways to look at every activity you're going to add to your calendar. How much time does it take you to do? How much does it cost? And what's the return on investment? So, for example, if you are broke as a joke, you cannot buy Zillow for $1,500 a month for one phone call a month. Then you're going to need to make sure that the cost is lower, and you might have to invest more time into it to get the ROI that you need, right? Because Zillow is expensive, but people close leads from Zillow, but not everybody wants to do it because it's expensive. So you need to look at every activity and figure out how much time it takes, how much does it cost, and what's the ROI. On the ROI standpoint, you want high ROIs on everything. Only if you've built a business that is solid and you're plateaued and you've built it, and you've got leads calling you all day, every day to list their homes, that's when you need to worry about maybe a lower ROI and taking a step back. But for now, you want a high positive ROI on what you're doing. So for example, open houses, a little bit more time, a little bit less cost, pretty high ROI in general. Open houses are a great way to build your business. It's mostly free. It does take a few hours a week of your time, but it's a great way to get in front of people who are actively looking to buy and potentially sell. That's a great ROI. Zillow would be a high cost, almost no time, but high ROI. However, if it's high cost, the ROI goes down a little bit because you're spending a lot of money on it to get that ROI, right? Cold calling, depending on what platforms you use, could be a medium level cost, could be a great amount of time, but could also, it's a numbers game, lead to a very high ROI if you do it consistently. So think about every activity that you're going to do, sending out cards, doing pop buys, and look at the triangle of time, cost, and ROI and figure out what's best for you. Types of business. We have transaction-based and we have sphere-based. Good agents, especially in the beginning, you're going to have a combination of both. There are coaches out there that focus only on the sphere. Then there's people out there that focus only on transactions and cold calling. In order to really build a great business for yourself, you're going to need to have a mixture of both. Transaction-based business would be cold calling, door knocking, open houses, farming by mailers. That's all transaction-based business. Sphere-based business is going to be your referrals, the people that you know, loving on your people, past clients, staying in touch with them, using social media to stay in touch with them. Those referrals are your warm sphere-based business. So let's talk about Oh, hey, there's my people. Let's talk about warm leads, cold leads engagement. Nurturing your warm leads. This is going to be your sphere. Those are going to be your warm people, the people that you already have a loving, trusting relationship with. Great ways to work your sphere are going to be social media, loving on their profile. Here's a quick tip for you. Facebook algorithm and Instagram as well. Write this down. You're going to need to know this. Is incredibly simple. And yet everybody overcomplicates it up here. It is very simple. When you engage with people on social media, they're going to see your stuff, period. So if you purposely go into social media, you click on the profile of your sphere, your past clients, your friends, your family, and you interact and engage with their profiles or send them messages. When you post to social media, they are going to see your stuff. Hello, low time, low cost, high ROI, great way to use your sphere. Engage with them. They will see your stuff. Engage, they will see it. Easy peasy. It's a great way to work your sphere. Other ways you can work your sphere, sending out your text messages every day, doing pop buys. Maybe you're doing a monthly pop buy with a different theme each month, and you're doing a different 10 people every month, whatever it is. That's a great way to work your sphere. Cold leads. Approaching your cold leads and using your systems and your tools, your CRM, your scripts, follow-ups, and persistence. Consistently doing this every single day. Maybe you're calling for an hour new people every day, and then the next hour you're following up with people that you've contacted in the past, and that's one of your activities. Guess what? It doesn't work unless you do it every single day. You have to do it every single day. Engagement. This is going to be things that you can automate and set up. So when I talked about Lofty, one of the things that Lofty has as a CRM is they have a monthly market snapshot. So I can just literally add this snapshot to everybody that I know, and it gives them a market snapshot of what the market looks like in that zip code for them every month. I can set it and let it, meaning once I set them up on the snapshot, it is sent out, branded for me every single month, and I never have to think about it, but that email is going out to them. So not only am I doing pop-bys and I'm sending them text messages, and I'm loving on them on social media, they're also getting some email market updates from me too. Same thing with campaigns and newsletters. That's a great way to use a CRM, is to set it up and let it go so you can interact with that email portion as well as bringing in other portions. Any questions on this stuff? All right. Sphere nurturing, we talked about this a little bit. Sending out your text messages, doing pop-bys, sending out cards. Let's talk about using AI. Artificial intelligence. We only have a few minutes left. If you guys want to use AI, it's a beast. I'm not going to lie. AI is an incredible beast. I love ChatGPT though. If you want to get good at using AI, you have to learn the art of prompting. It's that simple. It really is that simple. And the more you learn about it, the better it is. Prompting is the ability to tell AI what you want. It's going to spit something out to you, and then you're going to tell it how to change it until you get the product that you want. So these are things that you can use AI for. You can use it to create a newsletter, a blog, or a market update. Maybe it's for social media, maybe it's an email. You can ask AI to create a SWOT analysis for you and a business plan for you and create a schedule for you. And it can even convert it into a calendar that you can download and put in front of you. Believe it or not, it does all of these things. So if you ask ChatGPT to help you create a SWOT analysis, when I say learn the art of prompting, you can say, ask me questions to help me go through a SWOT analysis of my real estate business. And then it'll ask you questions. You provided answers until you've been able to develop a full SWOT analysis of your business. Crazy. It works. It's amazing. If you have a CRM and you want to create a 5-day text campaign for open house leads, maybe you just went to an open house and 10 families came through and you want to create a text campaign for them. You can ask AI to create a text campaign. You can tell it to make it funny, engaging, short, prompting, whatever you want. It'll help you create these things. It can also help you create a social media schedule, buyers packets, sellers packets, all sorts of stuff. All you have to do is learn how to prompt your AI. There's training on this all over the place. So make sure that you go into Google or go into AI and ask how to prompt you. You can literally go into ChatGPT and say, help me learn the art of prompting, and it will help you learn it. Real quick, lead generation starter kit. This is something I created for my CE class. It's a little bit dated, but it's still got great information in it. If you want to take a screenshot of that and download, it is like a 4 or 5 page lead generation starter kit with all sorts of ideas for lead generating. In review, pick your activities that you can do consistently, add it to your calendar, do it, actually do it, track your results, and evolve. All right, guys, we're running out of time. I'm going to probably go over time here. If you want to jump out, you absolutely can. I understand. I will post the recording later. Let's talk about building your brand. Who can tell me, go ahead and write it in the chat box. Who can tell me, oh, the link doesn't work for the starter kit. Okay, I'll drop the link then. I'll drop the link. I'll email it to everybody who signed up for this. Who can tell me what all of these brands have in common? Kate, you're not allowed to answer. You've taken my CE class before. You can write it in the chat or shout it out loud. Target, Starbucks, McDonald's, Apple. What do all of these brands have in common? All right, Kate, nobody's saying anything. Go for it.
They have a solid, consistent brand awareness.
Known brands. Yep, you're right, for us. Yes, Kate, you are right. Absolutely. You are seeing exactly what I'm seeing. These brands have solid brand awareness. They don't change. Target doesn't change. Target doesn't change to a cursive writing and a pink logo. Their brand across everything that they have looks exactly the same all the time. So does Starbucks. So does Apple. So does McDonald's. Now, there might be some tiny little changes that they add to it, but in general, the main consistency of their brand is the same at all times. We need to do that as business owners too. I can't stress how critical it is to grow your brand. If you are using, what's it called? Word swag. If you're using word swag to post just listed and just sold, and you use a different font every time and a different color every time, you are doing yourself a disservice because you are not being consistent with your brand. You are just all over the place and you look like a hot mess. And believe it or not, subconsciously, the public sees it too. If you want to grow your brand, you need to be consistent in your brand. How do you build your brand? Jump on Canva, pay the $12 a month, pick a color palette, pick fonts, make your logo, and then set it as your brand. And then everything you do from here on forward, everything you do, keep it aligned with your brand. That's how you grow brand awareness. Don't change it. The expected outcome of growing your brand and staying consistent with people on social media is to hold position number 1 in the category of real estate agent for everyone you know. If Joe Schmo down the street says, I need a real estate agent, you want so-and-so to say, oh, Nicole Ward, you need Nicole Ward. I want to hold that position in everybody I know's head. And you're going to do that by building brand and being consistent, and especially social media in 2024. But you need to do all of these things and build what it does. It's going to increase those referrals. Passive branding. I'm really flying through this, guys. I'm sorry. I would spend more time going through it, but passive branding, this is something, how many of you have seen a post on social media where that says, if you're interested in buying or selling real estate, give me a call, or call me for all of your real estate needs? I see that one all the time. It drives me nuts. Nobody's going to call you from that post. It is salesy, it's unapproachable, and people don't have real estate needs today. They have real estate needs a year from now, 2 years from now, and you want to hold that position in their mind then, not just by posting, call me for all of your real estate needs. So let's talk about what passive branding is. This is using social media as a way to brand yourself as a real estate agent without being salesy. So doing it passively. This is a picture of me. This is the post that went with it. I was very pregnant. It says, when you are pregnant and hangry, but you're still writing an amazing offer for your clients. Hashtag pregnant realtor, hashtag realtor life. what you're doing in this situation is you're reminding people that you're a real estate agent while also being approachable, human, and real. So I did everything at one time. That's passive branding. These are some other posts that I had on social media. Basically, it's just random things like this one right here is of my daughter, and I was asking for mom advice about a splinter on her foot. And I added to that and I said, she can't be my showing assistant for homes while walking around with this splinter in her foot. So I took something real that happened. She did have a splinter in her foot, but I added a little bit of sparkle to that by saying she can't be my showing assistant. So I was reminding people that I'm a real estate agent while being approachable and still using my life. All of these things I'm using as my life and reminding people that I'm a real estate agent passively without shoving it in their face and being salesy. No one wants to be sold anything. This is why real estate agents are looked at as used car salesmen. We need to take a step back from being salesy and being approachable, real human beings while constantly reminding people by wearing our realtor hat that we are real estate agents. That's the goal of branding. On your social media, can you easily be found? Can someone reach out to you? Does your profile have a button that says you work at your business page? Because if it says that you work at your brokerage, guess what? They're going to click your brokerage name and they're going to call that 1-800 number if they don't know who you are. And then your brokerage is going to get the lead and they're going to shuffle it out to some random person and you're never going to see it. You want to be easily accessible within 1 to 2 clicks on social media. So you want to say that you work at your own business page, your own brokerage, or right here, Kate has a link tree link on here where someone can find her information there with your number, your email, your whatever, how they're going to get a hold of you. You want to be that easily accessible on social media. All good, guys. Some helpful tips for branding yourself. We talked about the social media algorithm. It's that easy. Love on your people, they'll see your posts. Like you have to actively do it. Maybe it's part of your scorecard every day. 10 people that you're going to love on every day that are from your past client list. If it's in your CRM, make note that you loved on them that day and set a task for yourself to do it the next week. This is purposely working your business. Being consistent with it, incredibly important. Content inspiration. I use AI for content inspiration. Guess what? It's okay to do what other real estate agents are doing. I don't care. You can copycat me. I take it as a compliment. Other agents are going to be the same way too. Maybe don't word for word copy and paste. And if you do, oh well. But in general, you can follow other top real estate agents on social media and use their content as inspiration for what you're doing. You can also use AI to help you create some of this stuff. Final thoughts on branding. You want to establish a clear professional brand that reflects who you are. So I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. I think a lot of people know that. I do a lot of stuff with Harry Potter, so people kind of associate Harry Potter with me. I get random TikTok videos from people I don't even know about Harry Potter just because I talk about it all the time. It's part of who I am. It's part of my brand. So being clear on who you are as well as professional at the same time, incredibly important. Being consistent across all your platforms, all of your mail marketing, all of your newsletters, all of your social media, all of your branding, everything, your just listeds, your just solds. It should all be one consistent brand off of everything that you do. You're going to use social media and your brand to build trust with people. If you use it intermittently and you're on and off and on and off and on and off, you're actually breaking trust with people. So do one or the other. Be on it and be consistent with it, or don't do it at all, because you're going to break trust with people if you're not on it all the time. Storytelling, follow Kate Erb. She's in my team. Kate, Kait, Erb, ERB. She's great at storytelling. So she actually does like analysis of her past deals and she tells stories about the things that she's done, and it really engages people, I believe, and lets them get to know her and how invested she is in her clients. It's a great way to use social media. All right. So 5 actionable things that you can do going into 2025. And we just powered through way too much of it. I probably should have, dumbed that down a little bit, made it a little bit quicker. Adopt a business mindset. You're a business owner, you're not an employee. Build your database and use effective tools to manage your database. Master your time management, scorecard, and blocking. Master this along with everything else, and you will be successful in 2025. Utilize lead generation techniques and do activities that work. 3 to 5, guys. 3 to 5 activities. If you do 10 or 15 or 20, you're doing too many and you won't be consistent with them. Pick 3 to 5 activities that you can do every single day, every single week to grow your business. And lastly, build and maintain your personal brand and use it always, use it everywhere. Those are going to be the 5 actionable things that if you do those 5 things in that mindset and you work on those things, you will have a successful 2025. Take action, be consistent. You can do it. All right. That is all I've got. I did 70 minutes instead of 60. Is there any questions, comments, anything that any of you guys want to talk about or mastermind about before we jump off this call? Thanks, Karin.
And I will share that I'm actually starting a mastermind. Funny that you mentioned that. In 2025, I'm going to do Wednesday morning warranty warriors, but at from 9 to 9:15, it's going to be always an item of value, industry related, not just warranties, then questions, and then half hour of mastermind for talking over deals or brainstorming or whatever agents might need. It's open to agents of every brokerage. So starting in January, Wednesdays from 9 to 10.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Shameless plug. I can always count on you for the shameless plug,
Well,
Karin.
and that's not even, I mean, I didn't even mention my company, but it is a mastermind for agents who need accountability and want to grow. So yeah, there you go.
Well, thank you. Anybody else have anything that they want to jump in with, or maybe something that they learned or that they would like to implement going into 2025?
I'll just add that there's a couple, I mean, I've actually had a chance to implement almost all of these things into my own business in the last year, 2 years or so. And if you guys stick with it, it does work. It does take a lot of uncertainty and stress off of you once you start to have a more predictable schedule. I was one of those people who was like, I'm in real estate and I can do whatever I want, when I want, where I want it. And that caused more stress and anxiety, I think, than necessary. So really buckling down, nailing down what my activities are for the day and for the week and what my goals are, it relieved a lot of that. So I still have to reassess and audit myself regularly, but doing that helps really nail down what my business looks like and takes a lot of uncertainty out of it. So,
Well, I appreciate that. And I totally agree with you. I think that there's an element in this industry of the uncertainty and not being able to really define what's going to happen or how you're going to do things. And by implementing a lot of these things that we talked about, you're really going to build something and go into something amazing, I think. So, yes, Rachel, you're a structured person. You need schedule to feel more stable. You loved all of this. I know you are. That's perfect for you too. But yes, this very much, this kind of puts structure around it, even for people who aren't very structured, it still gives you something to work off of to grow business. And that's what we have to do in this industry. We have to grow. We have put this class on in a 4-hour CE. And we've added more to it. And we've really expanded on some things and showed more examples. And I implemented AI and I actually used AI in front of people. That's something that we're going to implement here soon again. So we're going to do this CE class and this training. So be on the lookout for that. I will post this, upload it to YouTube and post this video if you want to go back and watch it. thank you all for coming. I hope you got some value out of this today. And as always, if you need anything, I am available. Text is best. You can try and call me, but you most likely will get me on a text. Have a great Christmas, everyone. It was nice speaking with you all.